Top of the morning to you, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me again today on another edition of State of the State. I am Sunday Kolawole. Today we will be continuing with our look at an appraiser of the just concluded presidential election, National Assembly election that occurred last Saturday. And that will be the focus of the program today, as I'm being joined by two gentlemen. A former federal lawmaker, Honorable Afelo Okere, joins me on the program this morning. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining me on the program.
Thanks very much. It's a pleasure being with you here.
All right, then. Also here is a barrister at law, Mr. Felix Alunge. Good morning. It's nice to see you again.
Thank you for having me. God bless.
All right, I'm sorry to call everyone. Let's start and set the ball rolling. Let's take a look at what exactly was the performance of INEC, the Independent National Electoral Commission, in this election. It did promise that there will be an improvement in the conduct of this election, especially with the introduction of BVAS, which was used for the first time in a general election in Nigeria. For you, Honorable Okere, do you think that BVAS really made any difference, whether to a large extent or to some extent?
Thanks very much. I want to say that INEC has really improved in their services, and with the introduction of BVAS that was used for the first time, in fact, we have to commend INEC. Not that there were no little
itches here and there,
there, but to a large, let me say to some extent,
okay,
that the use of BVAS has actually made the conduct of the election and the participation to be very neat. You know, it has reduced incidences of manipulations and things like that.
To what extent did it apologies? To what extent did it reduce incidents of manipulation when you find coalition officers for states returning certain votes as rejected votes, and when the chairman of INEC was asking them why did this happen, they had to report that they overvoted in certain places and some other things like that that led to the rejection of some votes?
Yes, you see, the use of BVAS as assisted INEC to dictate areas where there are overvoting.
Okay.
Whereas in the past, when this thing was being done manually, accreditation have been done manually, we have had so many elections in this country where there are areas like that. It is very easy for the presiding officers, the party agents, to just collude and tick areas there, where there have been overvoting in order to cover it up. But the use of BVAS for accreditation will always expose, overvoting. So to that extent, we can say that it has assisted the organization in reducing, manipulation, as I've said. But like I said, there are still areas where there are little issues. But I'm sure by the time they put this thing to use, a second, third time, there will be a lot of improvement. I think things that we observe now will make the organization to improve on this technological devices that have been introduced.
All right, let me clear the view of Barrister Alunge on this matter. You are a barrister at law, and that even places you on a pedestal in this discussion as far as the deployment of BVAS is concerned and the technology. There was also some forms of disagreements, criticisms as they were, on why in certain instances results are not uploaded on IRF, and that caused some lots of arguments at the coalition center. Eventually, the president of the Senate, they'd say they did not pass that clause in the electoral.
Overall, INEC did excellently well. The election was transparent, open, fair, and credible.
Excellently well?
In the sense that
because when you say excellence, excellence is like from 70 upwards. Okay then.
The BVAS has succeeded in shutting out the criminally minded politicians who believe that it is going to be sense as usual. You are talking about the issue of overvoting. Let me just explain to Nigerians what to mean by overvoting. Overvoting, as far as this present technology is concerned, using papers, is that, for instance, in every polling unit, rejected votes. Rejected vote is coming as a result of overvoting, as a result of violence. But when you are talking specifically concerning the issue of overvoting, take for instance now, in a particular polling unit, we have 500 voters in that particular place. At the end of the day, in the summation of all the votes of the voters in that area, only 51 voted. Okay. Are you getting now? And when they were trying to do the summation, they discovered that it is 55. In that particular polling unit, it is overvoting. And the result in that particular polling unit will be rejected. When you're talking in terms of overvoting, it is done that the votes in that particular polling unit is above the total number of registered voters in the voter register. Are you getting it? Because automatically the beavers will reject the votes in that polling unit. That is the reason why most of the time, so in this particular place there is overvoting, and the overvoting has resulted from the polling units. And what leaves the polling unit to the work collection center is the result from the polling unit, so that the returning officer at the ward level cannot on his own cancel on his own. But the cancellation, the overvoting have been dictated at the polling unit. Okay. And after leaving the work collection center, you go to state collection center for presidential. And it is what we have the result at the state collection center that is just brought to national collection center to formalize it. Okay. So that no returning officer or collection officer has the right, he can no longer tamper with any of those things. Okay. When the issue of whether INEC has transmitted the something, what you are talking in terms of transmission, like the President of the Senate explained, that transmission means which it was not part of the provision in the electoral, that you as a voter as individual, your vote will be going as an individual, it will be going to the system. Okay. That what is in the electoral is that the result will be transferred to the database for Nigerians to view.
All right, your point is well made.
Let me explain one side.
Okay, so then, because of our time, we have so much to talk about.
That some fraudulent individuals, they are trying to have interface with the system. Even according to INEC, more than 7,200 times, they want to hack it in a way of manipulate the result from the units and from the votes. That in the wisdom of INEC, that the votes of Nigerians must count, and as a matter of fact, the vote of Nigerians actually count. In 2011, out of 53 million voters, 39 million voted. I'm getting now. This year now, out of 83 million, only 25 million Nigerians voted.
Of course,
because no more writing of results in government houses, no more writing of results in the comfort of the power that be.
Well, hearing all this from you, but Mr. Phillips Alonge, and the submission of Honorable the other time, you both are experienced politicians, and of course, I'm sure you have even been practicing politics so far back, even before I started working anyway. But look, it seems to me that this is telling us that you politicians had your ways of doing things, and perhaps things are changing with the deployment of technology. I think I'm correct, gentlemen.
Yeah, some are not longer comfortable. They don't.
Okay, but you are comfortable that your game is changing.
Yes, the truth of the matter is this. If you are talking from the perspective of somebody who believes that they enjoy, or party that they enjoy the support of the people, you enjoy maximum popularity, and you know that any day, any time, if free and fair election is conducted, that you are sure of victory, whatever system that is introduced, you will not be agitated. You will not be you will not want to circumvent it. You will not want to go against it. Because you feel that okay, this thing will even sanitize and make the whole process to be very decent, to be very neat, and it will ensure the integrity of the outcome of even that election. So in this case, like our brother here said, is that those who have been fraudulent, who have been manipulating election process in the past, and through that means they have been gaining victory, they can never be comfortable. They can never be pleased with all this improvement and technology devices that INEC is injecting or introducing.
So you don't buy the idea of certain people that manipulations occurred in this presidential election?
No. That's not what I'm saying. Your question is that maybe we are.
Of course, I've left that aside. I'm just asking you whether or not you agree with certain people that yes, the election went the way they did, but then there are manipulations in certain areas.
Yes, I've said it earlier that where in this election we cannot completely say there were no little manipulation, little, but but that cannot really be said that that cannot now discredit the credibility and the integrity of the outcome of this election.
In other words, you're saying the manipulations that occurred are not so significant to erode the credibility of the election.
When there is a significant manipulation in any election process, it discredits.
Why should we have manipulation in the first place?
Because I've said it that there are people who will always want to circumvent
the process,
so that they can get themselves in, and these people do not enjoy any acceptability. They do not enjoy the support of the people, and because of that, they will want to manipulate their way. But what we are saying is that through the use of this technology, that means that antics are being,
defeated
terribly.
Okay.
Defeated or reduced.
Okay.
Reduced. Look, there are so many stages by which elections are manipulated.
Okay.
There are so many stages, but the use of beavers, to a great extent, like we have said, has really, curtailed some of these processes.
Okay.
A process to manipulate election is when doing accreditation. We have seen manually in the past, when only 5 people voted in a place, they can tick 50. And, right figure of 50 voters in that, but with beavers now, that can never happen.
Okay.
So, and so many other stages in which election outcome can be manipulated or tampered with.
All right. I was asking that, but I know you would like to also respond. Yes, you will respond with this. In certain places, of course, all of these things were also displayed on the internet, the website of INEC and many other places we got all of this from. You saw in certain places party agents signing the result sheets when indeed their party had no vote. And the question arose, does it mean that the party agent that signed also did not vote in that place? So such a manipulation in the face of deployment of technology, how then do we say that the electoral process was excellently well conducted, in your words?
Let me tell you, you lose and win election at the unit level, the polling unit. As far as the technological device, using beavers, one manipulation can only occur during this process in this national election that was conducted as a result of people using sentiment to convince some people to vote in one way or the other, or telling people standing by the cubicle and monitoring them. This is the way you want to vote. And if you don't vote in this way, you will bear the consequence. That is the area you can. Or people said, oh, we are not using beavers. Most of the decided votes were people that refuse to use the beavers, not knowing that their votes will not count. Those are the areas of manipulation. Okay. But as far as issue of changing result from the polling unit, moving from polling unit to the work collation center, it is no longer possible.
All right, let's look at the voting pattern.
Like what Oga said, in the past, as I'm moving from the polling unit along the road or along the way, figures will likely be changed. And even sometimes they will even bring fake collation results sheets to the polling unit, and the power that be will have the original brown paper, so that along the line they transmit what they want.
Your point is well made, Barrister Alonge. Now, in this election, the president-elect, who was a candidate of the APC, now president-elect, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, won in 12 states. Yes. Labour Party candidate Peter Obi won in 11 states plus FCT. Kwankwaso, the candidate of the NNPP, won in 1 state, while Atiku Abubakar of the PDP also won in 12 states. Now let's look at the figures. Bola Tinubu had 8,794,726 votes. Peter Obi had, that's of the Labour Party, 6,101,533 votes. Kwankwaso had 1,496,687 votes, while Atiku Abubakar of the PDP had 6,984,520 votes. Now, if you look at this voting pattern of the people, in Lagos State, the home state of the declared winner of the election, Bola Tinubu, he lost that state to Labour Party candidate Peter Obi. And you also look at some other states that many surprises really came up in that election. What does that tell to the voting pattern of the people and the political enlightenment and education of the people as it now stands compared to the past?
Yes. Thank you. You know, Nigerians are becoming more enlightened and educated. Okay. And because the level of political socialization now teach towards the assessment of individuals against political parties. Okay. Because we believe, as far as I as a political scientist, for now in Nigeria today, we don't have really political parties in the real sense of a party system. They are just mere political platforms, because most of the parties in Nigeria today, they don't have clear-cut political ideology and philosophy. Okay. And even as a matter of fact, most of the candidates, they just use those parties because they believe that in my area, this party is more probably going to win election. And that is why when they get to the House of Assembly, National Assembly, you see them not doing well. Okay. Are you getting now? Very well. But as far as this election is concerned, Nigerians, the voters, they focus on the pedigree of the candidates. Okay. Though the party have actually assisted them. Take for instance, in Lagos State, you know, there are so many variables that affected the result, the vote of APC in that particular place. Some of the factors are purely sentiment. Some of them are issue of NSAS issue of religious aspect of it. People being myopic and religious.
I do not agree to that expression. Don't let's use any strong words. They are entitled to vote for whoever they like.
For instance, now.
And so please don't say anyone is myopic.
It's okay. But the other I'm trying to say is that the polling unit of Ashadu, people that voted there were not just about 40 something, but above a little bit above 40. They voted. Okay. If I had been the past, they will just record any results. See Oshun, the what you can say, the biological state of Tinubu. The APC lost there.
All right.
The president also lost
his own home states. All right, your point is well made.
This election is fair and credible.
Okay. Let me have the view of Honorable Okere on that.
Let me just say that looking at the pattern of that voting, sincerely, one can say that ethnicity and religion, play some factors.
Okay.
And also another factor is the pedigree. Those are the three factors.
The pedigree of the candidates? Okay.
And that is what eventually, and the overall winner is pedigree. And that is why he was able to garner his own votes across the country.
Okay.
Yes, you can see that the candidate of a Labour Party won all the elections, almost all the elections in the southeast, because the Igbo people believe that this is our brother, we must vote for him. So, and some of the things that we saw on the social media, or where people who are not from that region were not really being allowed to,
these are unverified videos and all of those things.
So you can see that, and again, like I said, that religion too. In some areas, especially in the north, where they are predominant Christians, they go the way of the Labour Party. Plateau, Taraba, Nasarawa, you see those people, those places. Then again, like I said earlier, that the pedigree, you can see that majority of Nigerians believe in the capability and capacity of Bola Ahmed Tinubu to deliver. And you see the trend that even in some areas, he had 12 states where he had more votes than the other two candidates. But even other areas, it is either his party comes second, where the Labour leads, APC comes second. Where the PDP leads, APC comes second. So that shows that almost everywhere, every part of the country believes, in the capacity of the man to deliver. And that is even that APC and PDP share the same number of states, 12, that still had the majority of the vote. The majority of the vote comes because of the belief that he has more capacity, he has more ability than the candidate of PDP or even the other one.
I hope time will permit us to come back to really delve into this aspect you're going into. But let me quickly read out certain figures to us to see what's been the voter turnout in Nigeria's presidential election between 1999 and 2019, and then comparing it to this year's presidential election. In 1999, 58 million people registered, and eventually 30 million voted. Now look at the difference. Now coming to 2003, you find 61 million people registered and 42 million voted. In 2007, the figure rose to 63 million and you find 34 million people voting. Now in 2011, the figure rose to 74 million with just 39 million people voting. So you look at the difference and the way the gradient is going. In 2015, 67 million people registered. That's a drop from 74 million to 67 million, and only 29 million people actually voted. Now in 2019, 82 million registered voters, and then we only recorded 29 million actual voters. Now comparing that to 2023, 93 million people registering and just 25 million voting. Now you look at this figure, each time Nigeria deploys a means of enhancing the electoral process, there is a decline in the number of people who eventually voted in the election. What do you think is responsible for this?
I think basically what is responsible is the introduction of a technology that does not, particularly this 2023 election, because over the years in the various elections, the political gladiators, they have the leeway of tampering with the process, changing figures, what was actually voted, what was recorded at the polling units, at various collection centers. They change the figures because when you are dominant as a political party, you manipulate figures. But gradually with the introduction of technology, you discover that the aggregate of those who vote started declining, little by little, little by little. As far as 2023 election is concerned, a lot of Nigerians, they came out to exercise their franchise. Yeah. But because of technology, it makes your vote to count. You cannot add and you cannot subtract. That is one of the reasons why you see the declining something. In the last election, they still allow for incidence form. But this time around, there's no incidence form. Because INEC over the years tries to make it possible. How will it make the election credible? How will it make the election, the vote of the electorate to count? Because election is about figure. Election is about the choice of the people.
Very well.
And democracy is about the people. And when people are complaining, our votes is done counting. So okay, let's devise technology. And those who are blaming INEC this time around, they have their own reasons, but INEC has done very, very well because the beavers shut out a lot.
If you are talking about beavers, just 1 minute and then we'll look. Okay, I understand you want to add to that. Well, yes. He's talking about the effect of technology causing a decline. When you look at 1999, 58 million people registered, just 30 million voted. You look at 2003, 61 million registered, 42 million voted. Can it also be that the figures are not even reliable?
Yeah, let me say this. In the past elections, there have been incidences of double registration.
Okay.
Yes, double registration. But today with technology, anyone that double register have been detected and are removed from the roll. So, then, like Barrister Alonge said, if we look at the election in 2003, which 2003, I was a participant in that election. 2003, 2007 election. The 2007 election, you see that election was crudely and cruelly conducted. That was
how do you mean crudely and cruelly?
Yes, that was the time our president then, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, said that the election would be do or die, and he actually, demonstrated it. Thank you. Actually demonstrated it. That I said I was a victim. I contested, and at the voting unit where I was supposed to vote, I just got there. Some people said, "Look, Honorable,
for your life,
we like you, we admire you. Please just go back home. We have helped you to vote." And
even as a contestant?
Yes, I was contesting for the House of Representatives then under AC. And that was when Atiku was the presidential candidate of AC, and Yar'Adua was that of the PDP. Obasanjo was the sitting president conducting. So that election, whatever figure we see there, can never be true reflection of the number of people that actually voted. And to corroborate that, when Yar'Adua was sworn in, he admitted himself that the election that brought him
was a flawed election.
Oh. So these have been the cause. Like Barrister said, You see, with the introduction of devices, technological devices to detect double registration, the figures of total registered voters are being reduced. Then with the technological devices to prevent double voting or multiple voting. You know, it was multiple voting.
Are you sure the number of registered voters are reducing? No, it's increasing.
Yes.
It's the number of voters. Those who actually voted.
Yes, the number of voters are increasing because the number of the population is also increasing.
Okay then.
And the number of people that are qualified to vote are increasing.
Very well.
For the grab the ballot paper from the presiding officer, even while policemen were there, they were just there watching, and just a single person was there.